I need to go through this topic because I think this is probably the most important topic of the year so far. We are starting to see the glow in the first signs of a real constitutional crisis. In the throes right before it becomes the type of constitutional crisis that could test a democracy. And depending upon how that constitutional crisis goes, in its worst outcome, it could destroy the very foundation of the checks and balances system, which makes America America, and which keeps our democracy safe from the tyrants that would wish to destroy it. And I know this is like, spooky intro, but I don't know how else to talk about this, because we have the richest man in the world, allied with the president of the United States, trying to get rid of one of the three sections of government, which check each other to keep them in check. So let's just start right off the bat in the deep waters. Here's some posts from Elon Musk recently that I wanted to bring some attention to. And there's a bunch of messages like this. I do not know which one is particularly the worst or the most offensive out of them all. So I just have this one. Maybe we'll pull up a few others just so I can kind of get my point across. But here is Elon Musk saying, democracy in America is being destroyed by a judicial coup. An activist judge is not a real judge. Now, for a movement that was so angry about the flippant use of the word insurrection or coup when talking about the time Donald Trump tried to illegally and unconstitutionally overturn the election results of a free and fair election in 2020, including by standing by as the supporters got violent for 3 hours and he did nothing as they tried to send the results back down to the states, that cannot be called a coup or an insurrection or anything. In fact, it was just a rowdy afternoon on the 6th. But what's happening right now with the judicial system, that's a judicial coup. And this is the constant point he keeps hitting on. We are witnessing an attempted coup of American democracy. Right now, guys, right now, by radical left-wing activists posing as judges. This is what Musk had to say. And again, there's a lot of messages, like, I don't know how many we're going to go through here, but we got a ton of messages like this. One second, we'll do at least one more message like this. In fact, you know what? Let's do the one that I'm sure Elon Musk loved the most, just to be fair to him. And we'll have Dana Bash's retelling of this, because Elon Musk changed his profile name on Twitter to be like La Funny, and I guess we have to recognize it.
Now, the disruptor-in-chief, Elon Musk, who apparently has adopted the alias, at least he changed his social media handle to Harry Balls, tweeted this morning, democracy in America is being destroyed by judicial coup.
Now, how seriously should we take Harry Balls' warnings of a judicial coup? What is this in reference to?
Now,
what is he talking about? Why all of a sudden is America's judicial system destroying America and crumbling? And it's a coup. They're overthrowing the government. What's going on? Well, what happened was Elon Musk tried to destroy U.S. aid. Then Elon Musk tried to destroy the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Then Elon Musk tried to do this with other institutions. Now, mind you, these institutions are created by Congress. And whether or not he even has access to look at the information that he is being disclosed, whether it has to do with for example, the Treasury system's access to people's IRS records. I think when somebody voted for Donald Trump, they did not necessarily vote for the richest man to have access to everybody's IRS number. Not IRS number, Social Security number, IRS number. I don't think they necessarily signed up to that. But that's not where it stopped. It also went further. He was using his access to the Treasury Department to stop the income flow to organizations like USAID and the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Sorry, I always get it wrong. He doesn't have the power to do that. Only Congress has the power to do that. It's called the power of the purse. It's very basic, high school level government. You'd learn this if you went through the U.S. education system. That Congress is the one who creates the budget, and Congress is the one who allocates the funds and chooses where those funds go. It is not the executive branch. It is not the judicial branch. It is the legislative branch. It is their job. That's why we had so much chaos over the last few years as the Republicans, as we went from continuing resolution to continuing resolution through the budget process, because the Republicans and the Democrats were not able to find a solid long form agreement. So they just substituted it with Mike Johnson and Hakeem Jeffries for short-term continuing resolutions. And the reason we went through all that process is because they are the ones with that power. So they have to figure it out. It's not just the president's job or the judicial branch. It is their job. It was them who created USAID. It was them who created the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. It was them who created all these institutions. And so it is also only them that can both allocate funding, say where the funding goes, and create and destroy these organizations because they were created by Congress. And Congress is chosen by the people. Therefore, they were created by the people's votes. And what Elon says, and what Trump says by extension, since Elon's working on his behalf, and they say that he's not gutting the good stuff, only the stuff they want to get rid of, is that Trump won the election, and that was a mandate for Trump to basically do whatever he wants. And that means if that giving, the richest man in the world access to everybody's social security number and to be able to create and destroy any institution created by Congress, whether it is USAID or whether it's the Department of Education, that is his prerogative. He has the legal authority to. Now, of course, now, is this constitutional? No. Is this legal? No. But that's not really what the strategy is about. I'm trying to revoke birthright citizenship, which is enshrined in the Constitution with an executive order, was not going to work, and that's why he was shot down by a Reagan-era judge. There's many different things that he's done that is unconstitutional or illegal or not legal in some capacity. What is different about this, and what's so interesting about this, is the judicial branch is one of the checks to stop Trump from getting too overzealous and going past what he's constitutionally mandated to as the chief executive, as president of the United States. That's their job. That's the whole checks and balances system, which is foundation for America. And if you get rid of one of those checks, the whole system it fails. And America, as you know it, ceases to exist if you get rid of those things that have been foundational to America since its inception and been created by the founders to be foundational for America since its inception. And by the username Harry Balls, Elon Musk is just taking pot shots at this institution, the richest man on the planet. Now, the richest man on the planet says something like this, that, judicial, and what he's essentially saying is that the judge is shutting down Trump from doing what he believes the people has elected him to do, even though the people didn't vote for this. They voted for lower grocery prices. It is unconstitutional. It's not right. They're not allowed to do that. And so get rid of these crazy judges. Get rid of this process. Stop this. What he's asking for is to get rid of one of the checks. To get rid of one of the checks and balances, the judicial branch. If you make it so the president can do whatever he wants and create any institution, destroy the power of the purse, make it so Congress can create something and the president can get rid of it, whether Congress says so or not, what you're doing is you're replacing a for a dictator, a president for a king. You're replacing the systems of checks and balances with one of unanimity in the name of the president. You're destroying what makes America America. I couldn't think of something less American than what Elon Musk is proposing. I mean, it's not, he's had these problems multiple times where he just bumps in to the most basic functions of the American government, gets angry, and then wants to shut it down. And look at the areas he's targeting, like at the Consumer Financial Bureau. Why is he targeting these institutions? Why is he targeting the institutions that, for example, protect consumers? I think it's because it benefits people like him, people who take money from the consumers. These institutions are made to stop big companies who are much more powerful from individuals from taking advantage of them and getting consumers their money back when they get scammed or they're not treated to the ethics and standards of current law. Why get rid of that institution that's overwhelmingly popular? And even much of the Republicans I saw in the replies to him announcing that it was dead were getting angry about. Why? Because it benefits him. Because it benefits the rich. Because it benefits the owner class. That's why. Because it benefits him. That's why he's doing it. You cannot tell me that a man is really doing all this Twitter shit and the rest of this for true ideological purposes. He's really going out there and fighting for free speech when he's trying to finance a man, and he did successfully finance a man into office, who wants to shut down the broadcast licenses of news outlets that criticize him, who wants to arrest flag burners, which is constitutionally protected speech, somebody who sues any news outlet that critiques him, wants to loosen the libel laws around slander so he can more easily target media institutions, threatening to hold back the broadcasting licenses of those who do not give him a fair shake. And what does a fair shake mean when you're saying something like the election was rigged against me, I did not lose, with no evidence? It means buying into his delusion. It means reality and those who help document reality, the first draft of history, the journalists, having to bend themselves to his interpretation of it in order to be able to broadcast legally in the United States. And Elon's the free speech guy, and this is his man. This is his homie. This is his guy. And he's the free speech guy. I mean, we could have seen that maybe that free speech principled attitude was not that strong once we saw the actions that Twitter India took, or when he started censoring those who were covering his flights, when he said that was the specific litmus test that you should use to see if he's being held to, the free speech standard. He's fighting for his own interests. He's fighting for the interests of people who are like him. That's what I think he is doing when he's in the government. The difference between what the previous oligarchs have done or the previous big businessmen have done is that what Elon's trying to do, or at least advocating for, and Trump might be very excited about, is completely breaking one of the checks and balances while gutting all the institutions unconstitutionally which dictate his behavior. Before, it would be, okay, let's see if we buy this congressman and this congressman out and buy this congressman out, and through time, we can slowly build a legislative majority. He says, screw the process. We won. Do what we want. Checks and balances be damned. And if the checks and balances say anything, then take it out back and fucking shoot it. That's Elon's view. That might not be the way he puts it, but when you get angry because you do something clearly unconstitutional and the judge says, yeah, that's unconstitutional, and your reaction is, let's go gut the judiciary, you don't want America. You don't want America for what America is. You want America to match the idea you have of America in your head, which is a bunch of sycophants copied for you because you're the big rocket man. Not a system of checks and balances, which are meant to keep people like you and Trump and tyrants in check. This is a constitutional crisis waiting to happen if it's taken up by the Trump administration. If the idea that the president doesn't really need to listen to the judicial branch is taken up by the presidential office, and he tells the attorney general to just enforce the law how he says it, the courts be damned, that creates a constitutional crisis. Because that means that's the president saying, I do not need to be checked. And Trump's words on the matter is, the Constitution says I can do what I want. That's not what the Constitution says, but that's his interpretation of the Constitution. And you better say that it's credible, or maybe he'll take away your broadcasting license. This is what J.D. Vance has to say. Not just the richest man in the world, the next man in seat to be the most powerful person on the planet. If a judge tried to tell a general how to conduct a military operation, that would be illegal. If a judge tried to command the attorney general in how to use her discretion as a prosecutor, that's also illegal. Judges aren't allowed to control the executive's legitimate power. This is not just a position of the richest man on the planet who helped back Trump's campaign back into power. This is also the position of the next man in line to the presidency and one of the other men whispering in the ear of Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, that the judiciary has no control over the president's actions, that the president can do whatever he wants, when he wants, to whomever he wants to do it to, and that the judiciary swears fealty to the president, that the different institutions of power all swear fealty to the president, and then maybe the Constitution second or third. And so if the judiciary says the president is doing something unconstitutional, that is not a constitutional limit on the presidential power, and so they cannot enforce it. And so they cannot do anything about it. The president should not be held back by activist judges, is how they put it. Even though they control the Supreme Court, mind you. But even that Supreme Court might not be enough. So, they're activist judges. And so they do not need to be listened to. You do not need that check. You can just do whatever the hell you want. This is a direct challenge from both Elon Musk and JD Vance to the constitutionally protected three sections of government. A judiciary, a legislature, and an executive, meant to check each other. Without these checks and balances, there is no way to stop the president from doing whatever he wants, when he wants. Constitution, civil rights, liberties, be damned. We have not gotten to the position where the president has completely said, no, we're just going to do it anyway, go forward. And we've reached that point where the crisis has started, but every single warning sign that can be put out by the most powerful people around him are being put out. And Trump has clearly stated that he believes that he can do whatever the hell he wants, and that that's constitutionally protected. What Elon Musk, despite all of his calls for free speech and free expression, all this stuff, really wants, just like what JD Vance wants, just like a lot of sycophants in the Republican Party want, and in the MAGA base, and even within the legislature of our country now, is a dictator. They want a man who answers to no one, who goes hard, who goes strong, who goes fast, and is able to be unopposed enough to get whatever he wants to do done. Processes and bureaucracy be damned. Because the bureaucracy and processes and checks and balances all represent the vague institution of the deep state. And that's the them, we're the us, pull them over. If they were successful in carrying out this challenge and able to move past what the courts told them not to, that right there could be the death cry of American democracy. And whatever is necessary to stop that from happening must be done. Because what JD Vance and Elon want in this country cannot come to pass. Did you guys see the Fed News subreddit, by the way? For those of you who don't know, civil war, I don't know if a civil war would be but my point is if American democracy, this is my view of American democracy. If American democracy dies, there's not really like an America anymore. Because America is not like based on any one ethnicity or nationality or any, it's based on a set of principles that are guiding by which we conduct ourselves and interact. And if we undercut those principles, what we really have left is a bunch of greedy cowboys who want to be able to get as much for them and build their golden future. And then, but not everybody can be fucking Billy the Kid and Wild Bill Hitchcock if you want a civilized society. But if you get rid of the laws and processes, that's what you're going to get. Anyway, what I was about to say about this Fed Reddit is this is a Reddit for federal employees. And I just wanted to recommend you guys go check it out. Just go check it out. Just scroll around and see what they're talking about. Until very recently, this Reddit was incredibly boring. And it was mostly just for like people to be like, hey, did you see this new legislation? Hey, how is it going to affect how we implement X, Y, Z, legislation? These were people who were doing the boring work of actually administrating the state. You know, the thing that when the king actually has to go out and do, like he gets bored and he goes bangs all the wenches and drinks all the wine. And, that's when you find out who's actually like a serious administrator versus like just a party guy or whatever. Like these are the people who just do the latter. That's all they do all the time. And that's what they've dedicated their lives to. And they've really, in many instances, signed away opportunities to work for more profitable endeavors for private industry in order to do it, in large part. And so these people getting hit with, hey, why don't you resign? By the way, I checked it out, how many federal employees actually took remember when Elon Musk put out that notice of like, hey, everybody, you can resign. You could stop. You could just, stop working for the federal government. We'll pay you until September, and then we'll, and then you can just leave, and then it'll be done. Number one, he doesn't have the funds up till September because we don't have the budget yet. That's going to be decided in March, so that's a lie. But the people who did take him up on that offer was mostly people who were probably already going to retire anyway, and people who have to work from home. And now the new order that federal employees cannot work from home anymore means that they can no longer come into work because of either a compromised immune system or some other disability or some purpose that they've determined, some reason that they've determined that, it's not safe to go into work. And that ended up making up about 3% of the federal workforce. About 20 to 30,000 people took up the offer. Now, there's probably a lot of reasons why only 20 to 30,000 of these people took up the offer, some number in that range. It could be that they know how the federal government works, and so this email saying, hey, we'll give you money up till September, they know that that's bullshit because they are more familiar with the federal government, so less of them took the offer. It could be that many of these people, I know that's crazy to believe, are genuinely here because they want to serve the country, and so when you write an email like, hey, just go do a more profitable job somewhere else, they're like, we're not in this for profit, we're in this for public service. And so I think that kind of request from Elon missed the purpose of why many people, work in government. It isn't just to deregulate themselves as it might be for you. But I mean, whatever the purpose is, whatever the reasoning, only 3% signed up for this. Mind you, every year about 6% of federal employees retire or like resign. So it was not like a big boost in like federal resignations from this, like tens of thousands out of, a federal workforce of like 2 to 3 million people. So this has not been that successful in purging, the civil servants. And so that leaves me with a question. Okay, Elon and Trump kind of go in there, slap all these people, say, go quit, and then most of them don't. Now what? All you've done is gone on there, slapped them, pissed them all off, and then most of these people still exist, and depending upon what the courts decide, many of them might even have their institutions refunded, but that takes time. And in the meantime, federal employees are getting quite pissed. And if you look around here, you can get tons and tons and tons of complaints. Did you see that they sent out another email stating, we are complying with the order and it allows more time to take this offer when the judge put a pause on it? Bob and Wap, thank you so much for the gifted once up. I saw a lot of things from Elon's team on this. For example, like a lot of the terms that they originally offered in that email have now been rescinded. And also, apparently, you also waive all rights to sue by taking the agreement, which maybe someone wouldn't have noticed if they didn't read the fine print. Monday night's HR email, offensive. Let's read this. Did you get the email from OPM last night that said, in compliance with an order issued today by the District Court of Massachusetts, granting a request to extend the deferred resignation program that remains open to resignations? This is what we were just talking about, how they extended the program. I can't believe they're just lying in an official government communication to the workforce. There was no request to extend a deferred registration program. It was the court saying we're putting this on hold and investigating the program's merits and legality and whether or not there will be an injunction against it. This is a really bad look and most feds will see through it. Like they think that the workforce can and should be manipulated into quitting, that they expect we will eat it up and not see the lie. Downright offensive. I've been cynical about everything so far. I don't know why I got angry at this one. I guess maybe it finally hit home that they really view us as vermin. It is not good to take all the most experienced people who know how to manage the civil society and the state and to piss them all off and aggravate them against you. But this is the verbal assertion of this deep state theory being internalized by the MAGA world, by the MAGA institution, and now it's being taken out, this war against the deep state, against these federal workers who dot the I's and cross the T's. And the way we're going to feel it is when our institutions start breaking down, and when you have, for example, an issue that needs to be dealt with a business ripping you off, and the Consumer Protection Financial Bureau has like 2 employees, and one of them is Grok, the AI program. Please, my identity's been stolen. I don't need any more AI pictures of cats fighting dogs. No. Okay.